America. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Voice of Reason. That was a clip where you edited all the lies that Donald Trump told, and it was just him breathing awkwardly the entire time. Anyway, we're going to talk about Donald Trump's address to the nation, where he said nothing. We're also going to talk about how there has been, because Mike and I like to bring this to everybody's attention, there's been a strong Nazi supporting community in the United States since before World War II. We just have further proof of that. And we also like to point out that Nazism was based on the Jim Crow South. So to think that Nazism can't happen in America when it was actually born here is a bit naive. So we're going to get a little bit more of America's history and eerily close relationship with the Nazis. We are also going to talk about Dan Bongino is apparently going to be the first rat to jump the exploding ship. And he is leaving as the deputy director of whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, the deputy.
The FBI, what used to be the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is now just a giant clown show run by the most incompetent morons. And we both believe that Dan Bongino was that guy, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who really believed the conspiracies. And then when he finally got access to all the actual information, he's like, oh, I've been supporting them.
Whoopsie. Again, that doesn't put them in any high regard. We're not letting them off the hook, but we're just pointing out that the whole point of this MAGA movement was to dupe a bunch of people and to get Donald Trump's support. And this is a perfect example of how it worked and how it infiltrated itself up into really dangerous levels with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan Bongino. These are people that have pretty prominent roles in our government, you know, being elected representative, working in the FBI as a deputy director. And they were clearly duped into believing all the bullshit. And when in reality, it was all just a smokescreen to cover up the real criminals, the Republican Party.
Yeah, exactly. And we're also going to be talking about Pete Hegseth a little bit, the head of the Department of War Crimes, and his role in all of this, because he wants to blame admirals and generals for murdering fishermen. But we have a video where he says he watched it live, so it's going to be hard for him to deny that. He's also planning on consolidating the different divisions of the military to further consolidate power under Donald Trump, under one person. And of course, they are still trying to get rid of all the high-ranking officials that are not Trump loyalists. So they fired all the qualified people and replaced them with people that are just loyal to Donald Trump. Yay. And considering we're on the verge of World War III, doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Speaking of World War III, we've attacked and seized a second oil vessel, which is funny because I thought we were stopping drugs. We've seized a second oil vessel, which just happens to be owned by China. So China has entered the chat, and Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump.
Can people not really see how China and Russia have played Trump into getting us into a conflict?
They really have.
Like, it's clearly what's been going on because China and Russia back Venezuela. So they have their own little group of treaties and back scratching pacts, just like we used to have NATO. But guess what? Donald Trump's trying to destroy NATO because that's what Vladimir Putin wants.
Yep.
See how this is all coming to benefit Russia and China and everyone that isn't part of NATO and everyone that isn't American.
He is so easily played. And then we're going to talk about his disaster of a national address. We all thought we were going to war with Venezuela, and the big announcement was that military members are getting a one-time check for $17.
And guess what?
That's
catch. Bullshit too.
Yep, there's a catch.
And we'll get to that.
We'll definitely talk about that. And we have some highlights from his speech and reactions from someone on the far, far right who has stepped in place of Charlie Kirk, and that is Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is not a Trump friend. If anything, he is just further widening the rift that me and Mike have been talking about. He is now telling Trump supporters that you've been conned. He's out there saying it, and that is good for us. Not because Nick Fuentes is speaking some truth in the midst of all his violence.
No, he's a true Nazi.
Because he's a piece of shit. He is literally the troll in mom's basement doing a podcast. That's all he does. All right.
He is. That's true.
So he's a complete piece of shit. But again, anybody that speaks out against Trump, especially on the right, I'm all for it. I don't support them. I don't like them. And I will never, ever change my mind. But if you want to create a rift amongst Trump's base, I am all for it. So
I'll take it.
Yeah, Nick Fuentes is the next to jump on board with all this. But first, I got to take a dig at Erica Kirk.
Yeah, but this is getting dark. This is getting real dark.
They held an America Fest, which, as a matter of fact, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, should be speaking now or shortly. And this is a event held by Turning Point USA, which we'll be talking about more on tomorrow's show. But it was an absolute nightmare. Oh, did you see the video where she accidentally admits that Charlie Kirk was a giant grifter the whole time? Yep. That's so good, bro. All right, so Erica Kirk is going around the nation on this ridiculous PR tour, claiming about how Charlie Kirk was the best husband, the love of her life, and that this experience has been the most traumatic thing she's ever had to go through. Okay, well, my question then is this, and then we'll get into the topics. Why would you do this if this moment here was the most traumatic event of your life? This is a mock-up of the murder scene where Charlie Kirk got shot. And this is displayed at America Fest, where these mouth breathers can take selfies. This is a new level of depravity. But again, you would think if this is the most traumatic moment of Erica Kirk's life, she would have been like, you know what? That's a bit distasteful to put a scene of my husband's murder here.
It kind of puts me off my lunch a bit.
A bit. Watch this.
And you can see from behind me, this is a recreation of the tent where Charlie Kirk lost his life at Utah University in September, and people are taking selfies with it. You can see.
This is twisted.
That
is deeply twisted. And it goes to further the whole concept that the MAGA movement was chosen because they will believe anything that approximates their religious belief. And what I mean by that is Donald Trump is their Messiah, and now they need saints, and now they need these otherworldly figures like Charlie Kirk. They're going to this mock-up as if it's a holy shrine that they could take pictures of and bask in his greatness and the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk. That's sick, twisted religious bullshit. And that's what this movement has always been. It's been a fake religion, which is ironic coming from me because I have an opinion of all religion being fake. But my point is, it's a fake religion being built around Donald Trump and his apostles like Charlie Kirk and who else knows who they could martyr at any time. But the problem is the movement's coming a little too late. And instead of building this giant network of martyrs beforehand, they kind of left it at the point where Charlie Kirk himself was starting to leave the movement. Now you have other right-wing influencers leaving the movement, like Nick Fuentes. Okay, yeah, Joe Rogan's already abandoned Donald Trump months ago. So now you're seeing the remnants of this martyr network, and the only people that are going to be benefiting from it now are Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA. That's what this is. This is a grift machine at the highest order and the most disgusting display.
It's awful. I mean, it's not awful, but just watching them shit all over everything Charlie Kirk talked about and believed in.
It brings me warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch them just shit all over everything he ever said. Because 1 minute you got Charlie Kirk on podcast asking if a certain country gave a stand down order on October 7th. And now you got Ben Shapiro, an extreme right-wing Zionist, spreading the exact opposite message. So yeah, make it make sense. I don't know. It's just weird altogether. So yeah, I'm not buying it. Again, I'm not buying this Charlie Kirk was murdered by the right, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And I'm not even saying Charlie Kirk was murdered by another country, but I will speculate that the right was involved because they were the only ones to benefit from the situation. Murdering Charlie Kirk benefited the left none. And Eric Kirk stood the most to gain from his death and is still benefiting from his death.
Yeah, from a perspective of people on the left, Charlie Kirk was turning on Trump, turning on not the right, because he's still an avowed fascist.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He was still a misogynist. He was still a bigot. He was still a piece of garbage, but he wasn't a Trumper anymore. He was turning on the Messiah.
Yeah.
So what happens? You kill that guy and you make him a little disciple, and suddenly you now have more magical people to worship.
Right. I mean, think of how they treated him. Think of how it was crazy. He flew on Air Force Two with the Vice President of the United States.
Somewhere, because there hasn't been a funeral yet.
Yeah, we don't even know where he's buried. That's the crazy, but like, yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on. Enough about her. I can't stand her. Still, again, not buying it, but moving on. We're going to talk about America's deep past and ties with Nazi Germany. Okay, this is something I think we should be talking about because, again, like Mike, I didn't know this, but Mike pointed this out to me that the Nazis actually based all their shit on our Jim Crow South, and even they thought that was a bit much. Which
I mean, they turned their
crazy.
tune eventually. They kind of took it to obviously the worst extreme you could, but
sure, yeah.
America has, it looks like, maybe not always been the full inspiration, perhaps, but has definitely been at times and in certain locations sympathetic to Nazism back in the day. Oh, you want to play that first, or?
Yeah, let me play the video you sent me, and then you can go into your slides here. But this is very good information.
In this New York county, steeped in the traditions of Americanism, the citizenry has been roused by the presence of Camp Siegfried, operated by the German-American Settlement League. Incorporators of the camp have been convicted in Suffolk County Courthouse, and one has been jailed for violation of the state civil rights law. Testimony which the judge forwarded to U.S. authorities rouses an attack on Nazi activities in America by Assistant District Attorney Lindsay Henry, the prosecutor.
The conviction in Suffolk County of the German-American Settlement League and its incorporators is notice to Hitler that America intends to shape her own destiny. We want no citizens here who pledge foreign allegiance. It was proved at the trial that at the Nazi camp in this county, the swastika flag was saluted, Hitler recognized as their spiritual leader, and the members of the Bund pledged allegiance to him. County Judge Hill, who presided at the trial, said that he had never believed such practices could happen in America, but it did happen here. We say that if these persons prefer some other form of government, let them get out of the United States and stay out.
Wow.
Now,
crazy.
When I came across that, and I don't know how that one hit me in my algorithm, but I was fascinated because I never heard of this. And what's really interesting is being from Long Island my whole life. You know, I've lived other places here and there for school and whatnot, but Long Island's my home, and I know woefully little about its history. The place where this one camp in particular, Camp Siegfried, was located is like 10 minutes away from me, where I live right now. So that's one of those things where it's like, wow, you know, history is always closer to you than you realize. But what I find interesting in what that video was, how that gentleman said, you know, we don't want people living here claiming allegiance to foreign countries.
I know. Yeah, irony.
And the one thing that came to mind, Jeremy, that I know you know is about to come out of my mouth is we're starting to see people flying, I don't know, Israeli flags unironically. Because when you see people flying their Mexican flags or their Italian flags or their Irish flags, they're flying them because they're proud of their heritage, but they're also proud Americans. I'm worried about these Americans who are starting to fly Israeli flags because typically people who are Jewish Americans don't fly Israeli flags. Trust me, I know. I was surrounded by Jewish Americans growing up because I am one. So I'm telling you right now, Jewish Americans don't truly 100% identify with Israel the way they want you to think they do.
They don't.
So if we start seeing people flying the American flag, or I've even seen images of people flying the Confederate flag next to the Israeli flag, go figure that the fuck out.
That's
okay.
My brain just
But the point is, now that I've went on a bit of a directional shift.
Jesus.
Support for other entities seems to be something we're used to in this country. So if I get back to Nazism, American Nazism has been a thing since the 30s. This didn't have, a while ago we played that video of the Nazi rally in Manhattan in MSG. And let me tell you, that still chills me. But some of this stuff I'm about to show you, it's actually scary because you know what? Guess who they were going after? The children.
Yep.
So yes, there was a Nazi-affiliated summer camp on Long Island in 1938 called Camp Siegfried in Yaphank, run by the German-American Bund, a pro-Nazi American group, to teach Nazi ideology, a common practice for such groups in the U.S. during the 30s. Notice that, such groups, so there were other ones. In 1936, the German-American Bund, a pro-Nazi group, was formed in the U.S. to advocate for policies beneficial to Germany. Gee, that sounds like AIPAC. The Bund was very active throughout the latter half of the 1930s, organizing rallies and marches, including a rally in Madison Square Garden in 1939. One of the Bund's most notable activities was running summer camps across the nation that were similar to Hitler Youth camps. Camp Siegfried was located in Yaphank, New York, and attracted numerous visitors. The camp even had its own train on the Long Island Railroad called the Siegfried Special.
What?
Here's 3 images that I was able to dig up of the camp with a little bit of information. This is a Bund youth raising a flag at half-mast in tribute to Nazi Germany's late President Hindenburg in Griggstown, New Jersey, August 1934.
Yep.
1934. So while the Nazi Party was rising in Germany and growing to power in Germany, it was trying to do the same thing here in the United States. Bund Youth Movement children give a Nazi salute on stage during a German Day celebration in honor of the first German settlers in America, October 5th, 1936.
That's crazy to me, man.
And this last one, this image was part of a Bund record seized by the Department of Treasury in 1942 in its investigations of the group's finances.
Bro,
that is right there a Hitler Youth picture. That is
Turning Point USA.
That is Turning Point USA.
This is Turning Point USA, bro.
Yes.
Fuck. That's literally what I'm looking at right now. That is a picture of fucking what Turning Point USA is doing.
Yep.
They are attacking the youth. They're specifically targeting youth.
And how about this? Get this. What the difference is, the Bund Youth in the United States was a summer camp, which means parents had to sign their kids up and send them. Turning Point USA is being implemented in schools by governors like the governor of Texas.
Yeah. You know, there was something in that video that caught my attention that I thought was extremely important that maybe I overlooked the first 2 times I watched it. He said they looked at Hitler as a spiritual leader.
Yep.
Which is crazy because we all know that they think Trump is some kind of god. I mean, that is honestly the only rational explanation at this point. Why anybody in real life, and I say in real life because Donald Trump's support mostly exists on the internet. In real life, it is not nearly as much as you see on the internet. But they truly see him as some kind of demigod that can do no wrong despite all of the evidence to the contrary. That's crazy. They see Donald Trump as a spiritual leader. That is exactly how they see him.
So now you have Donald Trump as a spiritual leader. You have Charlie Kirk being propped up as a spiritual leader. They're building their mystical movement. Why? Because the best way you can control humans is through mystical belief and ignoring facts and reality. So what you have left is a distilled version of the MAGA movement that might not realize they see Trump as a god, but they treat him as one.
They do. They do. I think in the end, Charlie Kirk was a threat to this entire Nazi fascist regime because a big part of this Nazi regime, surprisingly enough, involves Jewish people, but only the Zionist Jews of Israel. We gotta always differentiate that there is a huge difference. But Zionism has always been involved in Nazism, even in the 30s. Before 1938, I believe it was Zionists that ended up funding Adolf Hitler, because Adolf Hitler got funded by somebody. You know what I mean? He didn't get money for just out of nowhere.
It wasn't the German economy that he was destroying.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, again, I think Charlie Kirk, once he turned against Israel, became a real big threat to this movement, because I think Charlie Kirk could have been the leader of the Republican Party one day, if not running for president. And if he turns against Israel and becomes president, that's a
bad
problem
for them. That's
right.
bad
That
for the Republicans.
That is a problem. So the Zionist extremists, I don't know. We can speculate all day. We're going to have to speculate all day, because we're never going to get the truth out of this administration. Even the press, and I don't even remember. I don't know if I think his parents were his parents, Tyler Robinson's parents, even allowed in the courtroom? I know the entire press was shut out. Literally, the entire place is closed down.
We don't know
for this trial. So we're not going to know anything that happens during the trial.
And I'll tell you right now, again, it's another example of, if this administration was doing things on the up and up, wouldn't they want this trial to be as public as possible? To be like, look what happened.
Yeah. One of your biggest figures was just murdered, and you're keeping everything a secret. I don't know. It's almost like you're covering something up, like in the Epstein files. Like, really? Come on. At this point, just assume that every black mark you see on that Epstein file that they released is Trump's name underneath it. Just assume, or some other rich and powerful asshole.
Well, did you hear what Mike Johnson said the day before, that the reason they have to do that is because if they had the complete unredacted ones, it would like destroy American politics to the core.
Good.
Then fucking do it. Because clearly, look, what we have right now is not working for anyone but the rich people. So burn the system down. Number two, if the system is designed, or at least perpetuates, the protection of pedophiles, burn it the fuck down.
That's not
complicated.
Right.
That's not
we
complicated
don't want
concept.
To protect the government that if is truly run by pedos. We don't want that. Just let it burn to the ground, man.
I don't want that. I don't think you want that.
Hell no. But all right. Anyway, moving on. So again, big things are happening, right? The news moves so fast because it's so stupid. Speaking of stupid, the Dan Bongino, this is so good. This is so good. Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, went from podcaster to Deputy Director of the FBI, back to podcaster.
Hey, that gives you and me hope.
It does. It does. Hey, maybe we'll be deputy directors of the FBI someday. You never know. I guess all things are possible.
I would like to be deputy director of Keeping It Real.
Right.
That's what I would like.
That's right. So all right. So let's have a highlight video that shows, like, this is before Donald Trump became president again, before when they were promoting the release of the Epstein files. Okay. So this is before Dan Bongino realized that he's been propping up the pedophiles this entire time.
Please do not let that story go.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
Yes, I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
This isn't about Epstein or 9/11 or JFK or RFK. It is, but it isn't. It's about a bigger thing. If you're lying about that, you're lying about everything. Who's on the Epstein tapes, folks? Trump. Who's on those tapes? Who's in those black books?
Trump.
Why have they been hiding it?
And this is something Donald Trump has talked about. The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
Okay. So that's the stuff they were saying before the election and then shortly after the election to keep the base happy. Because when you run on releasing the Epstein files, you have to keep the lie going. And they've been keeping it going for 11 months now. Yeah. Did you guys, side note, did you guys know Kash Patel's real name is Kashyap?
Kashyap?
It's Cash YAP, but it sounds like Cash App.
That's funny.
Sorry, that's a side note there. Throw that in there, but yeah.
Well, I think when you look at the video of Dan Bongino, I hate to use this word because it almost sounds like I'm like giving him credit, but passionately beg for the release of the Epstein files, no matter who's in them. And then suddenly when he has all that knowledge at his hand, that he could be one of the heroes that brings down the entire Democratic Party, right? He's like, no, I'm out.
Right, dude. Yeah, because he realized, I think he realized he really believed that Donald Trump wasn't in it, that it was just the Democrats were going after Trump because they were so scared of him. That's honestly what I believe.
And look, what have we learned now?
They believe the shit. Yeah. What have we learned now?
The best part is we've learned that the left doesn't care who's in it because Bill Clinton is all over those pictures. Guess what? I don't care. Take them down. It doesn't matter. All of these people that are involved, if what Mike Johnson said is true, that taking down everyone in the files would fundamentally destabilize the American government, maybe that's what the fuck we need. Because if all of these people are involved, what country do we have? What is our country then other than a pedophile network?
And me personally, I don't know. I find it hard to follow laws written by criminals and pedophiles. I just don't want that.
Laws that they don't have to be, they don't govern themselves by.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's getting out of control. All right. So going back to Bongino, he has been a avid orange noser. I'll call him a brown noser, but
orange noser
since the beginning.
Tangerine tushy pusher.
Right. And here he is defending Trump's statement where remember when Trump was talking about he wants to take over Gaza. Gaza is going to belong to the United States. Well, here's Bongino, because this is what Bongino did best. Trump would say something fucking ridiculous, and then people like Bongino would go behind and clean up the mess and be like, you took it out. You took it out of context.
That's what the right-wing blogosphere or whatever the hell they're called now is about. All of those influencers are there to smooth over the turds that Trump continuously vomits up. And it works.
Right. Exactly. It's it works. It works. So here's Bongino responding to those comments by Trump.
A bunch of us, this kind of like ragtag group of Bongino army members, that we consistently beat the media on explaining how Donald Trump works. We don't even get paid to do this. We're soccer coaches, electricians, former cops, and we're constantly teaching the media how to do their own job. I told everyone about the Gaza story. Everyone chill. He's not talking about a military takeover of Gaza. If you just would have waited a day, you would have figured that out. Unsurprisingly, however, Breitbart, Hamas calls Trump irresponsible for Gaza takeover plan. Ridiculous and absurd. Folks, we should definitely back off the plan now. The terror group of infant murdering, women raping savages is like, we don't really like this plan. It's ridiculous or absurd. Oh, that's in that case, forget it. You better scrap that. We're done. We're done with that. Wait, Hamas doesn't like, forget it. As if you got your asses kicked. To these Hamas losers out there and demons, right? What part of you got your ass kicked don't you understand?
Anyway, regarding Donald Trump's takeover plan that he said we were misunderstanding, Trump's son-in-law pitched a $112 tech utopia on top of bodies of women and children that have been murdered in Palestine. As a matter of fact, Jared Kushner, so proud of it, he's been showing off a 32-page PowerPoint presentation
Jesus.
They're building a pedophile paradise.
He's really working hard. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
They're building a pedo paradise. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't subscribe, so I don't have that part of it. But no, you can look it up yourself. They're literally building a pedo paradise on top of bodies of women and children. They stole the land. Just like they did to Israel. That didn't belong to the Zionists that left Germany. They just took it. As a matter of fact, when they went there, all the Arabs welcomed them. Fucking welcomed them. And this is what they do in return. As a matter of fact, it's gotten so bad, the leader of North Korea has said that it is not a Jewish state, it's a terrorist state funded by Washington, D.C. And he's not freaking wrong.
I guess a blind dog finds a bone once in a while. Like, that's
how
the thing
are we the bad guys in that scenario?
Again,
you know
if you're starting to realize what's happening is all the bad guys are starting to look like the good guys because they're calling out the bullshit that we're a part of, that we participate in. America is becoming the bad guy.
Maybe we always have been.
Well, there's an argument to be said. We've never been the good guy. We might not have always been the bad guy, but we probably have been.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, America is just as imperialist as anyone else. The difference is we don't put flags and claim the land. We just put military bases there and threaten everyone in the area. That's all we do.
Right. And that's why we have military bases everywhere.
Of course.
Intimidate everybody into behaving themselves.
That's how we control
the world.
The U.S. isn't going to have much influence when all of our bases in Europe are kicked out.
No shit, because that could happen at any time, man. Next year is going to
look.
Next
NATO
year is going to be a
not,
shit show, y'all.
If the United States can no longer be a reliable partner,
yeah,
NATO will not continue our membership.
Right.
If they can't rely on us protecting them, just like they would come to our aid if we needed them. And the people joke about that. But let me tell you something. When we're headed towards a world war, we're going to need those French aircraft. We're going to need those Italian aircraft. Well, maybe not Italy because they're kind of fascist now too. But the point is, the whole point of having treaties is that you might not always need it until you need it. And if you do nothing to foster those relationships, if you only poison those relationships, who are you serving? Well, who's Donald Trump serving?
You are 100% right. The only reason we are able to deploy globally is because of our ally bases across the world. That's the only reason we are able to deploy across the world. If we lose those bases, we're not a threat. We're not. And at this point, I feel like every world leader is just laughing at us, just plotting against us because they see that how stupid this is. But anyway, Bongino did get a taste of his own medicine. I think this is before he made the decision, I believe, or I can't remember when this is from, but he actually gets called out on Fox News. Oh, this is regarding the pipe bomber, because Bongino was one of the conspiracy guys who believed that somehow it was the Democrats conspiring against Donald Trump. That's who planted the pipe bombs. So again, he had to take a taste of his own medicine when he realized that it's his side doing all the stuff that he claims he's against. And I think that maybe it's just bothering him to the point where he doesn't want to deal with it anymore.
Again, he's still a douchebag for being a fascist supporting bigot, but that doesn't mean he wasn't susceptible to all the manipulation that went on. And it's starting to be clear because people have said, if you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, the way she's talking now, something snapped in her that she's still crazy, but she's not as there's this fire in her that's not there anymore. She's not as arrogant as she used to be. She's still a piece of crap. Look, she's still, her bill to basically destroy trans kids' lives is just past Congress. Okay, so she's a piece of garbage. But I'm talking specifically about the mentality that she had, and it looks like it's changed. Dan Bongino, if you look at him, he doesn't have that exuberance anymore.
Right. And he thinks he's going to go back to his podcast and just continue to do what he did before. His whole audience knows that he had backstage access to the Epstein files. He's either going to have to talk about the Epstein files.
His callers are going to ask about it. What did you see? What did you see?
Right.
What did you see?
His audience is going to think he's full of shit. They're finally going to see he's full of shit, I guess is what I should be saying. But here he is getting called out on Fox News.
You know, I don't know if you remember this. This is before you became the deputy FBI director. You put a post on X right after this happened, and you said there's a massive cover-up because the person that planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it is because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or an inside job. You said that long before you even thought of as deputy FBI director.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, this investigation's just begun. We are pretty comfortable. We have our guy. I think again, legal process starts to surface and information, facts start to come out. The public's going to be very comfortable with the investigation that was conducted under Director Patel and his leadership. He's been great on this. But I don't want to, listen, I was paid in the past, Sean, for my opinions. That's clear. And one day I'll be back in that space. But that's not what I'm paid for now.
You're paid for your opinions, but you're not paid for that now? Who paid you, by the way, for those opinions of yours? I'm starting to be curious where those paychecks were coming from. So again, we just feel like Dan Bongino is one of the guys that got high on his own supply, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who truly, we have to admit, right-wingers were right about some of these conspiracy theories. They just really didn't know how to put the puzzle pieces together and ended up just blaming the person they hated.
Well,
the
that's
most.
what it is. The propaganda is you cause the confusion, you cause the problem, and then you supply the answer. People start to realize they feel intellectually something's wrong, and then when you hand feed them the answers and don't give them the ability to figure it out on their own, you're influencing them. And whose benefits from the influence? You trace it back, you see where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's crazy though, right? So hopefully, along with people like Bongino, because Bongino was a deep, deep Trump believer.
Yep.
So if he's starting to have doubts, that's a good sign for us. Again, this means Trump's base is eroding day by day. There's already a massive fracture. You got the Make America Great Again side, which is Make Israel Great Again. It's Israel first. That's what MAGA stands for. I actually posted a video where it says MAGA hats taking their final form, and it's just red yarmulkes.
Oh,
with the MAGA on them. And then you have the America First side, which believe it should be only white people in the country, and they're full-blown Nazis. So again, that's Trump's core base. And those bases, they hate each other. They
do hate each other.
The perfect example was that they were tearing. Ben Shapiro was tearing into Tucker Carlson at AmFest.
You're making a good point because the only thing that unified them was that Trump was going to destroy the left. And guess what hasn't happened?
None of that.
The left hasn't been destroyed because everything that is damaging points back to the right, or their incompetence. Their incompetence prevents them from doing anything and weaponizing it. Look at Pam Bondi. She can't even prosecute anyone. Almost every prosecution that she's had against anyone has failed. Look at this Luigi Mangione thing. That guy's going to walk free.
He's going to walk free, bro. You're not even in line, man.
The Department of Justice has done nothing to help Trump. The Department of Justice has in no way fulfilled any of Donald Trump's promises to prosecute anyone to any successful degree. Right? Look at Letitia James. Thrown out. Comey, no one's worried about that. Mark Kelly, they're not going to have anything on him because he didn't do anything. The point is that they can't even manufacture the threats that they were levying against people before they had power. And now that they have power, they're not doing anything. So the unifying concept of Trumpism was to destroy the left. And since he's not doing it, those bases are going to get tired and sick of watching their own lives get worse.
Yeah.
When the left isn't getting it worse than them. See, they don't care if their own lives get worse. They just want the left to have it worse than them.
Right.
And that's not happening.
Right. And we wanted you to have a better life. That's the crazy part. You wanted us to have a worse life, but the left was actually fighting for you to have a better life. I wish at some point y'all would actually realize that what was going on. Because while you were trying to take rights away from people, we wanted to give more to all Americans, including your dumb red hat wearing asses. You know what I mean? Like, for real. But anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the head of the Department of War Crimes, Pete Hegseth, and this new. We're going to go to war with Venezuela, and this has nothing to do with drugs. I'm pretty sure the seizing of 2 oil tankers is proof of that.
Watch, they're going to come out and be like, oil is the new street name for drugs.
Right, we're declaring oil a weapon of mass destruction, like fentanyl. It's like, what? Wait, you declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. When are we attacking China? Because isn't that where most of the fentanyl is manufactured?
Yes.
But anyway, we're going to Venezuela and we're taking oil tankers. We're murdering fishermen, and we're claiming it's about drugs. But Venezuela has the most, I think it's heavy crude is what they call it. It's actually different. Yep. They have more heavy crude than anywhere in the world. Plus, they have a lot of rare earth minerals that we need for everything that we use.
Because we destroyed our relationship with China, who we used to trade with. See how that fucking works?
China said, all right, you know what? Fuck you and your tariffs. We're just not going to give you any more. That's how that went. So now we are panicking. And the only way this demented freaking applesauce for brains here, all he knows how to do is try and take it. That's all he's ever done his entire life is take things. But here he is claiming that Venezuela stole our oil.
Well, you know where that comes from.
No.
In my opinion, this is the return. People like him and the people that back him think that America has a right to everything, that we have a manifest destiny. So they think stealing oil means, well, if it's in North American territory, we have every right to get it, even if that's in Central America or South America, because America has, we deserve everything.
Right. And like I said, the last oil tanker we seized is owned by China. So this should be real interesting here in the near future.
Stealing the oil, they did.
Piracy is what we're into.
Yeah,
now,
but I'm saying what I'm talking about is we're committing piracy. But if Trump is saying Venezuela stole our oil, what did they do? Did they go to one of the oil rigs we operate, kill all the people, and then pump it out themselves into their
own boat? Secretly took buckets of oil one at a time, and I don't get it. But let me play this clip.
The blockade, not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it.
If you remember. I love how he says it. If you remember, they took all of our illegal blah, 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 blah.
Why don't no reporters ask questions like, where did they take our oil from? That would have been a simple question.
You know why no reporters aren't asking questions? Because they want to make sure they still get whatever limited access they can. So their bosses back at home base are telling them, just stick your microphone in front of that idiot's face and let him talk. Don't ask him anything because they'll ban you from there.
Right.
That's what they're doing. They're not asking questions because they're not real journalists anymore, because they're all subject to Donald Trump's fucking whim.
Pathetic, isn't it?
That's a perfect example of. That's a perfect example. If you're that immediate follow-up, Mr. President, if you're claiming Venezuela stole oil, can you give us examples of where this theft took place? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Who took it? Where did the oil go? Why didn't the oil companies say that, sir, Mr. President, help us, they're taking our oil?
Right. I've never heard of this, and Mike and I are chronically online. So this is a new story to us. We did not know that we were under threat from Venezuela stealing our oil. But Christ. Yeah. Okay, so Hegseth is going to go to jail one day. This nightmare will end, and it will end because of how stupid it is. Okay? And I'm not trying to insult anybody directly, but it's the people at the top are morons, and they're morons who think they are smarter than everybody else. Does that make any sense? We see through all this bullshit, right? But again, all right, so Hegseth is going to go to jail one day for committing war crimes. Of course, they're going to tell you it's for drugs. But again, these boats, as small as they are, there's no way they could have reached United States soil without refueling up like a
How
dozen
about this?
times.
How about this? Wait. Maybe let's just say for a hypothetical, they are carrying drugs. Those drugs aren't making it to the U.S. So if they're delivering drugs to some other country, what the fuck is Donald Trump doing protecting other countries? I thought it was America first. We don't police the world.
Right, bro. Yeah, the one boat wasn't even heading in our direction. It was going the opposite. And they were like, oh, drugs are coming.
Yeah, you know why? Because they were probably picking up fentanyl from the U.S. and bringing it back somewhere.
Yeah, they were probably, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But here, you know, why Pete Hegseth is going to go to jail? Because he's admitted everything on television. He has, quite honestly, posted war crimes on Twitter.
He's dumb.
On Twitter. Okay, so let me show you. The reason I want to talk about this is because Hegseth now wants to blame admirals in general, saying that they took it upon themselves, which anybody who's ever served in the military believes that for a second.
Well, also, that's not how the military works, especially at that level in international situations. Sorry.
So they're trying to pin it on this guy named Admiral Bradley. Admiral Bradley's like, no, I took orders from Pete Hegseth. And it's just like, of course, they're trying to push blame onto one another when everything backfires. But unfortunately, Hegseth went on television at one point and admitted that he watched it live. So it's a little hard to say you had no idea what was going on.
Wait.
Watching fucking live streams of this
Hold
shit.
on. Let's replay this. Sir, we have an incoming feed of this operation. Which operation? The one where this rogue general decided to kill a boat, a full
Right.
Okay, put it on. Let's watch it.
Right. And if there was a rogue general randomly bombing fishing boats, I'm pretty sure it would be a much bigger story than not a story at all. Because
again, wouldn't they try and use that story somehow? But
you would think, but here he is admitting it.
So the president is sending a message to other cartels, right?
A very clear one. I can tell you that was definitely not artificial intelligence. I watched it live.
Real time.
We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs.
Okay, and they have not seized a single one of these tiny, tiny vessels with what, 2, 3 dudes in it?
All they got to do is get one of them, put a camera there,
literally,
look at the drugs, and go see drugs.
God. That's what I'm saying. We have the most advanced, most highly trained military in the world. Take a SEAL team. I'm pretty sure they can handle 2 fishermen, even if they were Tren de Aragua and they were armed to the teeth. I'm pretty sure a SEAL team could handle them. And again, like Mike said, all you had to do is seize the boat, make a giant spectacle of it. Look at all these drugs.
Now, look, I have never been in the military. I am not someone who understands full military strategies and all that, but I'm just going to be a layman here, and I'm going to just use my dumb brain. You have a little fishing boat.
Right.
We take a really big boat, like, I don't know, a big fucking ship that we have that we use for war. And we take that big giant boat and we bring it right up next to the little boat. And then what we do is with a megaphone, we go, we're going to kill you unless you surrender.
Right.
If they say no,
bang.
A sniper on the big boat kills one of the guys on the little boat. And then the other guy goes, I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
Yeah, that scenario is actually more likely than what they're trying to.
And do you want to know why I know that? Because what do you think happened when the Coast Guard seized that boat a week ago with all those drugs
Coast
on
Guard could do it.
They took a big boat and they went up to the little boat and said, we're going to kill you unless you surrender. And they went, okay.
Right. But that's why, like, MAGA in my comments is like, you can't prove there's no drugs on the ship. I'm like, you can't prove there are drugs on the ship.
Yeah, but that goes to show MAGA doesn't understand the concept of the burden of proof. If you make a claim, you have to prove that claim. Otherwise, you could claim whatever you want and act on it. That's called fascism.
Oh, here's another clip of Pete Hegseth saying that recruiting numbers are up, but it's more challenging these days because young people are just too fat and too dumb. What? I don't know how you're supposed to inspire the youth of the nation to join the military with this, but okay, let's go with it.
These have been historic recruiting numbers. You guys have all delivered, and I know it's not easy on the basic ingredients on recruiting. That too many of our young people are too fat or too dumb, or not dumb, that's wrong. You know, we're just not educating them properly, or they've got criminal records, or ADHD, or all these other things. There's a lot of things contributing to what someone may or may not qualify to get into the military.
Is ADHD a disqualifier for the military? That doesn't seem right. I gotta have to look that up.
You know what he was doing there? He was trying to, without saying the word, go, because of all these woke young kids, we can't find anyone that's willing to serve in the military.
They all got blue hair and nose rings.
God.
Damn liberals. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So you just too fat and too stupid. But then he says it's because we're not educating them properly. Well, yeah, no shit. No shit. You're defunding education at the same time while complaining about not educating people properly. Make it make sense.
Also, the more educated you get, the I'm sorry to say this, gives you more options, and you might not choose to go serve in the military.
Well, that's the thing. When you have education, you have options, and a lot of times, I mean, people go to the military. That's where officers come from. You graduate from college, and then you go into the military.
Well, I'm sure you saw Jolly Good Ginger talk about it several times, where when he's asked, why did you join the military? And his first answer, first word every time without hesitation, is poverty.
Yeah, I did it because I was bored.
I mean,
I'm not going to lie. That's why I joined the military. I was bored in my hometown, and I had no options. If I wanted to move out of the state, that requires money. You join the military, free travel. You know what I mean? You might get yelled at a lot and have to do some dumb shit at the same time. But, yeah, I joined because I was bored. Man, there's many different reasons. Like some people joined because they want to serve and do all that stuff. And when I joined, I really did not want to follow in my father's footsteps. It was kind of like a lack of options, but then it turned into something else. But, whatever.
Yeah, but look at it this way. Like, you have people that are, let's say, coming to the age where they could join the military. Let's say you're 18 years old. It is 2025. In your lifetime, have you grown up in a scenario where the military is really a good option? You see withdrawals from countries that we never should have been in. You see never-ending wars. You see us starting wars. You see us starting to kill people over bullshit reasons.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of person do you want to join the military that wouldn't conscientiously object to those things? Like,
I know. Under this,
who are you looking for?
Under this administration, I cannot recommend joining the military. You'll be used as a prop. I've seen it with my own eyes. Mike has seen it with his own eyes in DC. Military are just walking around. They're props in Donald Trump's fascist reality show is what they are.
They're eye candy. Look, we have the military everywhere, so you must be safe.
Yeah. So, all right, we got a few minutes left. We might go over by like 5 minutes, if that's okay with Mike. Jesus.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stuttering. My gummies must be kicking in.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, let's go to Donald Trump's speech from the other day. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Do not play that gross version again, please.
The one reason breathing. Mike said before the show, and I will say it so you don't have to, but I think he's right. That's probably what all the little kids heard. Was just that breathing. Anyway, moving on. That is dark. That is so dark, but we should play it again. All right, no, I won't do it. I won't do it. All right, so I made a little bit of a highlight clip, and then we have a couple other clips that I want to talk about. But here's some of the stuff that he said during his address to the nation. Again, we thought we were going to war. He really did nothing but the normal bullshit.
It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault.
Transgender for everybody, crime at record levels with law enforcement.
I don't know what that means.
Words such as that, just absolutely forbidden. 1 year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call
warrior dividend before Christmas, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore.
I just picked that up. He said 1,450,000. And then he caught himself and is like, I mean, think about it.
1,450,000. Think about it. 1,400,000,000,000,000,000.
1 billion, gajillion. I didn't even pick that up the first time.
God.
Holy shit. Okay, so that was some highlights. And he said words such as that has been what? That has been banned or is well, all right. Anyway, I feel
how about when he promised that drug prices have gone down 600%. So if you take any medicine, this is something that I think the Trump administration screwed up, and they really should have made this announcement so that every American understands now.
Right.
If you take any medicine, the drug companies are paying you hundreds of dollars just to take their medicine.
Right.
So go ask your doctor right now why you aren't getting all your medicine for free with a check.
Well, right. So every month you buy your medicine, you're going to get a rebate check, everybody. Fantastic news. And it's funny you mentioned it because I have the clip. Here it is.
What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interest to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades,
He's
to
negotiating
slash
with
prices
foreign
on drugs
nations
and
for drug
pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%.
You know, it's funny in the last video, the first video I played, he's like, countries were laughing at us, but they're not laughing at us anymore. And in the same speech, he's talking about 600% off of medications. Okay, so for those of you who aren't good at math, you can't take 600% off of a price because that would make it less than free. So like Mike said, look, we can all look forward to, I guess, probably pay for medications, but at the same
my blood pressure medication is now finally paying off after years. I'm going to start getting money from. I'm making bank from taking medicine to keep me alive.
Just wait though, because prices are going to go up.
Come on.
He's saying he's slashing them by an imaginary 600%.
They might go they might go up 600%.
Oh yeah, that's more likely than them going down even 6%.
I love when he was like, "It's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats.
It's the Democrats' fault.
Trust me, trust me."
Dude, yeah, and I like how he's like, the Democrats are demanding higher insurance premiums. I'm like, wait a second, didn't Mike Johnson just say we're not voting on extending the ACA subsidies before the holiday?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. How can you still be blaming this stuff on the Biden and Obama and the Democrats? He's been president for almost a year, dude. And everything has gotten worse. Take a hint. But anyway, Nick Fuentes had something to say. And this is, again, a good thing. When there's a fracture and dissent on the right, that's good for the left, okay? Doesn't mean we have to join forces. Does not mean we have to like them. We can still hate the fuck out of them, which is what I'm going to do until the end of time.
Yep.
But as long as the base eats itself whole, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Let them do it. Go for it. So here's Nick Fuentes' thoughts on Trump's address, and it's not good.
And this is why everyone hates Trump now. This is why everyone hates Trump. Everyone hates this administration because it is a scam. It's not even a failure. It's not even an honest failure. It is a scam. We are not getting anything that we have been promised. Think about it. We were promised industrial policy, tariffs, subsidies. They backed down in 1 week. Remember Liberation Day, April 2nd, we're going to liberate ourselves from free trade. We're going to have tariffs on every country. They caved in 1 week and then said, oh, the whole time it was really just about China. Remember that? Another fake out. They said, we're declaring tariffs on every country in the world. And then when the bond market melted down, they said, never mind. It was really just a big trick. And what we always intended to do was to only have tariffs on China and nobody else. Trump always chickens out.
I hate Nick Fuentes, but I like watching him talk shit on Trump. And
Look,
I don't know.
It's important to remember Donald Trump became what he is today because of the right-wing influencers
Exactly
propping him up and getting a bunch of mindless sheep to follow along to what these influencers say.
Exactly.
Those influencers are still doing the same thing, except now they realize the wind is turning. So they need to keep their jobs. So if they see that MAGA is starting to get grumpy, they're going to lead the charge of being grumpy so that they look like the voices of reason, haha, pun intended. And then their followers are going to stay listening and tuning in every week.
Yeah, but they're angry.
They don't need Donald Trump. They never needed Donald Trump. The politicians needed Donald Trump. The Christian nationalists needed Donald Trump. The pundits, the influencers didn't need him. They created him.
Yeah.
That's
just
it.
like The Apprentice propped him up. Anyway, last video we'll play for tonight because I think it's very important to understand that Donald Trump is not giving our troops $1,776, which of course that number is just to rile up his base. Patriots, woo!
That's a Patriot number.
They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're not taking it out of all the tariff revenue or all the donations. Right? They're not taking it out of Donald Trump's ballroom fund. They're not taking it out of anything other than military funding that's already been allocated to help troops with housing. So instead of getting help with housing, they took like $2.5 billion and instead gave it a one-time lump sum check.
Which, guess what? They get taxed on that.
Yeah, and they have to pay taxes on it. I didn't even think about that.
So they're taking the money that they needed for housing, giving it to them as a lump sum that's going to get taxed, which they will then probably need to use to pay for housing because that was already in their budget for housing.
Right.
And now they have less money to do that with.
Yep. So they essentially just burned a bunch of money. Anyway, but here's Jessica Tarloff explaining the warrior checks more thoroughly.
And then this warrior dividend. Now, that was the thing where I said, oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be like the Trump checks or something. This is amazing. But it's not. He's taking already allocated funds that were supposed to go towards housing subsidies for our troops and branding them with his 1776 Trump sticker. So you get a bonus, but you lose a benefit. It's not coming from the tariff pot. It's already been allocated. That is dishonest, and that is very uncool. If there is another explanation, I would love to hear it. But if that is your big marketing item from all of this, and you are just taking money from troops that are moving to a more expensive place and need extra money to live in San Diego, so you can say that you gave them a rebate that's not even from that tariff pot, not uncool.
Right. So where is all the tariff money going, by the way? We were supposed to get rebate checks too. I want my Doge check, bitch. I'm still waiting for that shit.
No, I'm still waiting for the Soros check.
Oh yeah, man. I gotta change my name, man, because Soros ain't funding
Soros
this
money
guy out at all, man. I'm telling you. All right, guys, that's all we have for today's show. We hope you had a good time. We'll be back on tonight, or
no,
my brain is not functioning correctly today. But we'll be back on tomorrow night at 9:00. Me and James James and I, proper grammar, another episode of Jesus Christ, episode of the Derp State. I'm gonna go play some video games now and stop talking because apparently I'm not good at it today. All right, love you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Please don't. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe. Really appreciate your help. Love you guys. We had a great year this year. Next year we are going to crush it and leave our mark on the world. So, thanks to your support, we will accomplish that. Have a good night.